My son with Down syndrome swears all the time, appropriate for the situation, not to get attention. How to break the habit. We've tried replacing bad word with another, but it's not working. He has limited language. He is 8.5. He is verbal only within the last year and mostly only family understands him. At first, we reacted big. No, don't say that. Maybe some laughing because anytime he says anything now, we are pleased. But we know the reaction was reinforcing, and at home we've stopped saying anything except I try to say, no, say bummer, or after I hear it. And he repeats that. He says, oh, okay, like it's the first time we've corrected him. He says it all the time. When he drops something or a toy breaks or I make a mistake, he says it. I really don't think he's saying it for reaction. It seems like that is now his standard response when he sees a problem.
What I think is great that this person is doing is, one, they're giving them a replacement behavior. So they're having them do something else. However, anytime a behavior keeps happening, it's because something is reinforcing it. So something is reinforcing that learner still cursing. And again, I want to just preface, while I'm providing some advice right now, I haven't seen your children or your learners, so it's hard to give you an exact answer. But what I will say is I would proactively practice what to do in those situations. I would set up opportunities to drop something or do something under the conditions in which he would usually curse. And before he even has the chance to curse, like let's say, you practice dropping something and his name's Johnny. You say, Johnny, say, oh no. And he says, oh no. And then you reinforce that. If you want that behavior to keep happening, then you have to reinforce it somehow.
That's what I love about teaching a replacement behavior and setting up a scenario to kind of model it and act it out, because it does provide a great opportunity to praise. Mm-hmm. And instead of offering, kind of that negative correction, and even praise in this situation is a consequence. That's another misnomer about ABA is we've got the antecedent, the behavior, and the consequence. A lot of people think consequence is a punishment or a reprimand. Mm-hmm. And that's not what consequence means. In this scenario, consequence is anything that happens after the behavior. Yes. So in this case, it's praise and it's reinforcing.
Yeah, it could be praise. Another thing too is I know that person said that they're not giving it any attention, but even your tone of voice is so important when you're saying something. And again, I didn't hear it, but I would just make sure that your tone of voice is really neutral and you're not like, oh, Johnny, say, you could just say, oh no. Like I would just say, just really, Johnny, oh no. Like I would make sure like I'm very neutral in that moment, because sometimes it's just a look or your tone that is reinforcing enough to keep a behavior going on. So
that's got to be the hardest part. I know it's the hardest part for me was learning that neutral reaction, the neutral tone, but also your face. Oh my gosh, don't ever take me to Vegas because I have no poker face. I'm very reactive. And that to this day is still hard for me sometimes. And I think any teacher has got to be in that situation where a child says something and you shouldn't react. You kind of have to turn your head or whatever it may be. But mm-hmm. that's a good thing for all of us to practice, is like that neutral